Hello and welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast.
This is a show dedicated to helping you become a better organist.
We're your hosts, Vidas Pinkevičius.
And Aušra Motūzaitė Pinkevičienė.
We have over 25 years of experience of playing the organ.
And we've been teaching thousands of organists online from 89 countries since 2011.
So now let's jump in and get started with the podcast for today.
We hope you'll enjoy it.
Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Aušra.
Let's start episode 711 of Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. This question was sent by Spencer and he writes, "Hello sir, please do you have materials and videos on creating class stanza reharmonization for organ accompanying a choir singing unison with or without descant?" This is a very specific question, right, Ausra?
Yes, it's very specific.
And it happens a lot when organists play hymns in churches. They want to sound more creative, especially during the last verse or stanza, when choir is singing without harmony, just one part, and organist is free to experiment with other colorful harmonies.
Yes. And when reading this question, I just thought about, in general, my education, my organ background. And I realized that, the more I live, the more sort of pointless for me seems my education that I used to have.
What do you mean?
Well, let's see. I spent 4 years in the Academy of Music in Lithuania doing undergrad studies, yes, in organ performance. Then I got my master's, where I studied for 2 years in Lithuanian Academy of Music. Then I got another master's in the United States, studying at Eastern Michigan University, yes, and finally I finished up, and got my doctoral Nebraska, Lincoln. And actually, in all those years, nobody never have taught me how to reharmonize hymns in general. So what that education is worth, I don't know.
Even in America?
Yes.
That's interesting.
So that's 11 years of academic studies.
But what about, let's say, in Lithuania, we all had like liturgical practice, right, in churches, and our instructors taught us how to play hymns or liturgical responses on the organ.
We have never taught us how to play hymns, only responses that you need for like Catholic Mass.
Not the hymns.
Not the hymns.
And right. So when you get this question, what do you have to do? If you want to be creative, right? If you don't want to stick to the harmony from the hymnal. Of course, there are plenty of already pre-composed last verses, right? And we can link some of the most popular ones in the of course our podcast transcript, but playing other people's music is not always the best choice, right? If you can provide your own reharmonization.
Yes, or you can just do how the pop singers do. You just play the last stanza higher without any prepared modulations. Just go up and that's it.
They switch. I think they switch by a whole step.
Yes, usually that's what we do.
But then but probably more artful way to prepare it would be to play an interlude, right? Modulating interlude of, let's say, 8 measures.
Well, be careful, Bach almost lost his position while playing interludes between, hymn stanzas.
That's right. In Arnstadt, when he returned from his 4-month trip to Lubeck in 1705, 1706, during Christmas time. He visited Buxtehude, this famous story, on foot, about 450 kilometers, and was late for Christmas. Of course, he arranged a substitute, but still his congregation wasn't happy. His employers were not happy. And what happened, Osha? How his playing changed?
Well, he started to improvise crazy interludes between hymn stanzas.
Between even phrases.
Yes, between phrases, and congregation did not know when to sing and when to stop and when to enter again. He had to still have some of his examples left and study them, how he...
Should we do it today too, in our liturgical play?
Well, I don't know. After, reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral, I don't know what is good and what is wrong, because you never can please everybody, If one side will be happy, then another won't be, vice versa. Just, play how you feel and what pleases you the most.
Yeah, talking about Notre Dame, I published my video response to the critics, but I just briefly mentioned basically probably the best way to address this, and it now ties into our conversation, that you have to establish a tradition, certain way of playing, and keep at it. And your congregation will be used to it, will get used to it over time. Just like in Notre Dame, at Notre Dame Cathedral, Pierre Cochereau established this tradition in the long decades when he was a titular organist, and especially in 1970s when this modernistic improvisation style was being explored, and it was its culmination at Cochereau's time. And today, of course, in many Parisian churches, this tradition continues, not only at Notre Dame. So, just a good example of this.
Yes, and when reharmonizing, let's say, the hymn, know what works at your church, what kind of tradition thinks accordingly. Is your, congregation conservative or not? What kind of...
Talking a little bit more specific, what can you do, right? There are some ways to do it. Let's say everybody is singing soprano melody, the hymn tune, and now you are free to add another type of harmony. What happens in your head now is important, right? You can create a new bass line, and then you will have new chords this way, right? Because the bass line dictates new harmonies. That's how Bach, by the way, created his Orgelbuchlein chorales. First he had a tune, and then later he added the pedal line, and only then alto and tenor in his manuscript. So yeah, bass line is crucial for harmony. You can write it down, or you can improvise it. You can expand it later with adding inner voices. What about harmonies? Can you use more advanced harmonies, Oshay, and what kind of harmonies would you suggest?
Again, it depends, what kind of congregation do you have.
Let's say you have a small congregation in a medium-sized town.
That still doesn't, much of the information.
Okay, imagine situation. You are a guest organist in Christmas service in some church here in Vilnius. Of course, you can play the hymns as written, but if you want to be more colorful during the last stanza, what would you do in Vilnius?
Well, if it's Christmas time and it's like festive service, I would probably, add the trumpet or tuba for the last stanza.
Tuba meaning the descant line.
Yes, yes.
So you could keep the same harmony, but rearrange the parts so that your right hand would be free. Or it could be left hand actually, but playing one octave higher. Right?
But that's harder.
Harder,
way to
harder.
do it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit how to do it, because this is actually the easiest probably way. You don't reinvent the harmony, you just supply a descant, which means you play the pedal line with the bass line with the pedals, and tap three voices with the left hand. And this is a little bit challenging because in hymnals it's written two voices on each stave, right? In choral specification. So how would you reverse the parts, Osha?
Well, you need to look at the score actually, but whatever you do, you need to play chords with your left hand in a closed position, of course.
Closed
That's the
position.
most important thing. That's the crucial thing.
And to remind our listeners, closed position is the way to play chords when the intervals between the three upper voices are no more than perfect fourth, correct? So in C major chord, let's say, would be starting from the bass C, G, C, E, let's say, right? And we have three upper voices, G, C, and E. And between G and C, it's a perfect fourth. Between C and E, it's a major third, and we're still in
Closed position.
Closed position, yeah.
Because if you would, use wider intervals, you could not play it. So it just takes, some time to practice. Another, for example, possibility, if you have less conservative congregation and if you like jazz, add some jazz harmonies too.
Going back just one step to that previous question, rearranging the voices, I think one very useful bit of information is exchanging alto with tenors. Alto could become tenor and tenor could become alto, one octave lower or higher, no?
Yes, because it's like a math. If you, let's say, add 2 plus 2, it equals 4, and there is no other way you can do it.
It's confusing. Let's say 2 plus 3, right?
Anyway.
2 plus 3 is 5, but 3 plus 2 is also 5.
Yes, and 4 plus 1 is also 5. So, but still, these are the same numbers, so you have the same notes in the chord.
Yeah,
you just
result.
rearrange them.
So the final question is how to create this descant with the right hand to be played on a trumpet or tuba or even cornet stop with the right hand. I think this could be also rearranged like a nice melody, but using different chordal notes of the same harmony. It shouldn't double the soprano line of the hymn, right? It shouldn't double the tune itself. It has to have some separate culmination up and down. It has to have a little bit some separate rhythms as well. So if let's say the hymn tunes move in quarter notes, this descant could introduce some 8 notes or even smaller note values, right, Osha?
Yes, true, because it's a solo melody with a shorter.
I think I can do a tutorial on how to do this on one of the episodes of Learn with Vidas, so stay tuned for that in the future. And in the meantime, send us more of your questions. We love helping you grow. And remember, when you practice,
Miracles happen.
This podcast is supported by Total Organist, the most comprehensive organ training program online.
It has hundreds of courses, coaching and practice materials for every area of organ playing, thousands of instructional videos and PDFs. You will not find more value anywhere else online.
Total Organist helps you to master any piece, perfect your technique, develop your sight reading skills, improvise or compose your own music, and much, much more.
Sign up and begin your training today at organduo.lt and click on Total Organist. And of course, you will get the first month free too. You can cancel anytime.
If you like our organ music, you can also support us on Buy Me a Coffee platform.
Find out more at buymeacoffee.com/organduo.